for your Idaho to do. That's because Treefort Music Fest is here. Downtown Boise will be filled with incredible music, art, food, and so much more. From Pod Fort to Food Fort and hundreds of artists performing across the city. There's something literally for everyone. So we're joined by Nathan Walker with Treefort to give us the inside scoop on all the festivities. Nathan, Treefort, I can't imagine people who have not attended, but I know they're out there. So for those who may not be familiar with what Treefort looks like, give us a quick overview of how the event happens.
Sure. It's spread throughout downtown for 5 days. And there's, the main stage is in Julia Davis Park, but it's spread throughout downtown through multiple venues. So really what makes it so special is the fact that there's so much of that community involvement and engagement. It's not just in a field and kind of everybody's in one spot. Really is literally spread throughout downtown. We have again, this year, 825 volunteers, just adding to that community engagement piece.
My goodness.
So that's part of what makes it
forts
successful.
galore, right? So
Yes.
I think when people think of Treefort, because there's a Treefort Music Hall, right? We think music forward, but there's so much more. There's podcasts, which we shared on the show yesterday. There's yoga fort. There's a reading fort. I mean, there's tons of forts. How do we find out how many forts and which ones we want to attend?
Well, I think the forts are a really great place and entry point for anybody to kind of, no matter what you're into, to be involved. So Story Fort, like you mentioned, is our literary piece. Kid Fort, which is focused on the kids, of course, and Music Talks is programming around music industry related things. I think in general, like, music is such a good convener and a gatherer of people.
Yes.
And so we take just advantage of that opportunity to showcase some of our other creative communities in Boise and give them a chance to not only showcase but to host those within their scene from other places, bring them in, chefs for Food Fort, they're coming in from out of town, like all that sort of really
Yeah, there literally is something for everyone. We weren't kidding when we said that. But some of these forts are free. How are you able to make them free?
Well, that's a great question. The free and community benefit pieces become such a large part of who we are as a festival that this year you might see some signage around the festival related to Treefort for Good. That's our nonprofit arm. We established it in 2020 as a musicians relief organization around the pandemic, but one of the original missions was to build up and sustain this free and community benefit programming. So you'll see some signage related to that with an opportunity to learn more and donate if you're so inclined. But that's one of the avenues we're really pursuing.
That's fantastic. Okay, now let's help people maximize their time at Treefort. Where do they go so they can make their plans and figure stuff out?
The app is the best thing to get. We have a great app.
There's an app for that.
Yep. Has a schedule on it, has opportunity to listen to bands that you might not be aware of on there. And beyond that, like, overall, like, make your schedule, but don't feel tied down to the schedule.
I like that. So have a game plan, but be willing to try something a little off of your beaten path, perhaps, if it intrigues you. Go with an open mind. Nathan, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. Everyone, make sure you check out Treefort. It's a local must. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 12:30 for Idaho Today, everyone. You take care. Bye-bye.